Hello and welcome back to the channel. We're going to cover some technicality stuff really with paint. We've got a good opportunity here. We take this for granted a little bit, but a few customers come into our mixing room, which we'll go into shortly, and quite amazed how paint's made. You know, do all of these colours make up one paint, but one colour rather. But we're going to work. We've got we do a lot of TVRs, as regular viewers will know. They're a pain. Colours are a pain with these, especially when it's not a full repaint. But we've got this T350 T here at the minute for a rear quarter repair. So we've got to get the colour right. Now, it's just metallic black, but there's a lot going on here, as we've discovered. TVR factory codes are really hit and miss within schemes and systems. The spectral scheme that we have doesn't have a huge amount of range with TVR colours, but the code for this is TVR 101, which is Mystic Black. Now, we don't have the formula in the scheme. We can get it, but we don't have it right now. And the problem with just going off a factory code is we don't know the life of this car. I know it's had paintwork before around the back, so how good was that to the factory colour? How much sun fade have we got? What polishes and compounds have been used. So there's a lot of things that will affect the colour of the car. So what we do with all repairs is, rather than go straight for the paint code, we use a Spectro here, which is a very clever piece of kit with essentially 5 cameras inside there that will take photographs of the paint and come up with a formula. So we go through the process. Fire this up. What we do is we go through the process where the adjoining panel that we're trying to match up, we will clean, flatten, polish, get it the best it can be, and then we, with a Spectro, we take a reading off of the panel. That'll take its 5 photographs. We then go into the mixing room, we plug this in, and it brings up our various options that it's come up with. So we'll just head in there now and get that done. Right, so now in the mixing room with our wall of colour that amazes customers sometimes, plug the scanner into the system here, and what it will do is it will bring up we've got here about 11 different formulas that the computer thinks will make that colour. Now, what we'll end up here, you can't really see, but there is a very faint line straight down here. There's a marker point up here. Use a pointer, marker there, and a marker there. So that's the dividing line, and that's a photograph we've taken. And that is what the system is saying is our best option with the colour. We've got various bits and pieces down here which will tell us how coarse the pearl or the metallic finish is. It will tell us what shade of primer to get the best effect would be. It will tell us if it's a pearl, a metallic pearl, a solid color, a standard pearl. So we've got all kinds of information in here to help us decide which of the suggested formulas are going to be best for this paint match. And it also gives us an overall score here as well. So that's what the computer's managed to get it down to, a 0.02 for color match. Perfection would be 0.000. So that, in theory, is a really good match. So we've then got the formula here. So this is the tinters from the rack behind us here that will make up that colour. Now, you've got to be really quite ballsy and brave just to go, that's it, mix that up, chuck it on the car. This is a good indicator, but it's not set in stone. So what we do is we will do a spray out card and offer that up to the original paint so that we've got a card that size and an amount of paint to paint that rather than a tub of paint that is potentially going to go in the bin. So we get the spray out card done and we offer it up to the car, which is what we will now go and do. Apologies for the loud noises outside, bad timing as we've come out here, but we've done the spray out card. We went for the Fiat, all the noises are going on now. We went for the Fiat colour. The brand doesn't really matter, it's the formula that is key. And the system's coming up saying that this Fiat colour is a colour for this car. Now, as soon as we'd done the spray out card and applied the lacquer, we knew this was wrong. I mean, if you want to come in closer, we'll. I don't even have to shine a light on this. It probably won't come out that clearly on the film, but the card is blue. If I put some light across it, I don't know how well this is going to come out on film, but it's got a blue pearl and a blue effect to it. Well, the card's clearly black. If we offer it up here, and again we get the light on there, you can see that we are absolutely miles out. So again, had we just gone, the computer says that's fine, and mixed up half a litre of paint, we'd now have a blue rear quarter panel against a black door. So we've actually gone back to the drawing board, as it were. We've taken a couple of other scans and looked through the formula to identify what would make this better. It's come up with a Mercedes colour. So we've now done a Mercedes spray out based on another Spectro scan that we did. And again, if you want to come in with this, Luke, you can see straight away, if I put the two side by side first, actually, see how this works out on the camera. You can see that our second one is actually a lot blacker. It's not an immediate obvious blue in there. It is a darker, and that is black as opposed to blue. But if we then take this back over to here, though, and lay it up onto the car, we're a lot closer, but it's still nowhere near, if that makes sense. What we're looking at here is if we look down through the colour, the sparkle coming back at us is blue. So that's a blue pearl in there. If I take this away and actually look at the car, that's a yellow. We've got a gold pearl coming back at us there. So the Spectro in this case, for whatever reason, is just not working in our favour at all. We've gone on and done a bit more research into the TVR colour, and 101 Mystic Black, this is with TVR, is actually a Volkswagen colour, LC9Y, I think the colour is. So we're going to get that up in the system now, and we'll go through, we'll try and identify what it is which is giving us this blue when we should be getting the yellow. So we'll pop back into the mixing room, where hopefully it's quieter, and we'll carry on with this process. Okay, nice and quiet in here, so you can hopefully hear me waffle. Right, the Volkswagen colour is actually LC9Z. Z? Black Magic. So that's the Volkswagen colour that TVR used for this. They just renamed it. Punch that into the system here, and we have 12 variants, which is a bit of a pain. You've got bog standard here, factory Black Magic, which you'd think is probably what they've used. The variants here are a combination of factory variants, and also within the system here, this can be updated and is updated. So various paint shops would have formulated something to match a lighter shade, a darker shade. So we've got all these keys here which tell us whether it's a lighter, a redder, a bluer, a yellower. So we've got various options here. We've also got down this line here, if there is a colour box, so basically a small spray out card. We just pan around here quickly. Within the colour box here, we have literally thousands of small colour chips for pretty much every brand. No TVR, but we've got the colour chips here. So if we've got a factory paint code, we can come in here, we can identify the code, and then we've got a chip. Now, within the VW one here, we actually have two of the LC9Z chips. So I don't know how well all this stuff comes out on camera, but we'll do our best for you. We've got variant 4 and variant 9 here. And if we look, I mean, the joys of iPhone here. Again, I don't know how well these are coming out for you, but they are two distinctively different shades. But as we look down through them again, we're getting a blue pearl come back, which we can go back in a minute and look in the formula on the screen, and we can see where that blue pearl is. So we now know this is the factory color code that car was painted in originally. So now we have the question of, has it all been painted before, and have they altered the color? And you'd have to say the answer is yes, because we're failing here on every level, be it a spectro scan, or which shouldn't fail because that's taking a photograph of what's on the car. But now that we've identified the factory colour, we can also see through the chips that we're getting a blue pearl. We look into that a little bit further here, and we'll go with the standard factory colour here. So it's not been modified in any way. It's not lighter, redder, bluer, yellower, etc. So we go with the factory colour here. The factory code has a fine blue pearl in the formula. And we know that we don't want a fine blue pearl in the formula. There is blue in the colour. We can see that there is blue coming through the colour, but that's picked up here. We've got a blue black and we've got an intense red blue. So there are blues within the colour, but the pearl that we're getting come through on the car is not blue, but it is blue entirely in the formula. So what we're going to do here is a little bit of creativity. We're going to mix this colour, but we're going to substitute out the blue pearl for a gold pearl, which is going to be a little bit hit and miss. We might have to further tint the colour once it's made because there's 3 different gold pearls. And we don't know if that quantity of gold pearl is going to be overpowering or not. But all we can do at this stage is a little bit of trial and error and make the formula. Right, so we're only mixing up a small amount of this as a tester. So we're only actually looking for 100 ml. Can't really make much less of that because some of the tinters have got such a small percentage in when you start doing a small quantity that it won't shine through and you won't get a proper reading. Now, we do this all the time. I can guarantee now I'm doing it on film, I'll mess up. But we just need to, the system's really good here because if I do mess up, it will recalculate the entire formula for me, which is great, other than the fact you end up using a ton of paint that you don't need. So I'll try and keep listeners entertained and not mess this up. The percentages here are really important because a fraction over the prescribed amount will drastically change the colour. Well, I say drastically, some of the tinters are actually far more potent than others. And we do have a little gauge on the system, a little graphic that tells us the level of transparency and therefore the level of intensity each of these tinters have. So just very quickly, you can see all these lines and colour charts on here. So B606, for example, is quite a transparent colour, the light blue, because we've got the 1 bar up there. It gets more intense. So if we get something like blue, for example, that's just solid blue. A blue-green is quite an intense green, but it does have a blue flop on it. So that's a real dumbed-down basic version of what we're looking at here. In terms of information that helps us determine what this colour is going to be. So if you put 1% more of a real intense colour in there, you're going to drastically change that colour. 1% of a translucent colour won't make a drastic difference, but you'll know it in the light. Maybe this is where we do a little bit of time-lapse editing, keep people awake. All right. I think we recommend now all TVR should be a full repaint. Every single TVR we do, which is a repair, the colour is just a bit of a nightmare. Because TVR don't use their own colours. They take other off-the-shelf colours and rebrand them with their own codes. They can be a real nightmare trying to decipher the code. Right, we've now come down to the blue, fine blue pearl. Now, we don't want that blue pearl. It's only 1.6 grams of the 100 gram total that we're making here. But that's causing us a lot of trouble. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute that for, we're going to go with a fine gold pearl, because it's not a heavy pearl in this cart at all. But it is gold, it's not blue. So we're going to mix in 1.6. There we go. Well, I don't want to speak too soon, but so far I've not gone over on anything. When I get 1.2 out of a big pot, that's when it all goes wrong. Right, and then 160, final tinter. Right, there we go. There is the basic formula now mixed together and modified with our gold pearl instead of our black pearl, blue pearl, sorry. So we just mix that all in now. Now that you've all endured however many minutes that was of mostly silence, we'll get this mixed up now and we'll get the spray out card done and we'll be back very soon with that offered up against the body with fingers crossed. I mean, just quickly actually before we cut away, the importance of the spray out card is I've got to add thinners to this yet, but at the minute that's just black. So you can't offer that up as a mix in the pot and see if we're anywhere close, because as a paint in the bottom of the pot here, you've got no indication whatsoever. So we'll get this finished up, get a spray out card done, and then we'll offer it up to the body and see where we are at. All right, we're going to get the spray out card down now. Just quickly though, an important point to mention when doing spray out cards is you've got to treat that as if you're painting the car. So use the same gun that you're going to paint the car with, all set up exactly the same as if you're painting the car, because gun pressure, fan, the gun itself, all these conditions will make a difference to the colour. It might only be slight, but when you're trying to get an edge-to-edge colour bang on, then it needs to be bang on. So we set the gun up as if we're about to paint the car. Right, so we've got the spray out card all done now. This is our new modified formula. Forgot to say in the booth that going on from treating that as if we're painting the car, we do one tack coat, one wet coat, one drop coat, which is what we do to the car as a standard. So that is painted the same way that we would paint the car. So how do we get on? Well, you come around that side, Lou. Now that it is done and we've got the gold in it, we're happy we've got the gold in it. It's really showing up that there is blue in there. So changing one tinter will have it'll have such an effect on the colour that now that we've eradicated that blue, we can see against the panel how it is actually missing that blue now, as in the blue pearl. There's still, as we said, we've still got blue in the intense red blue, the blue black, but we are missing that bit of blue pearl. So what we're going to do now is go back with this formula. We're going to retain the gold, but we're just going to add back into it now a bit of the blue that we took out and tint it down to this colour. So it's all trial and error. This is where the time goes, but we'll get it. So we'll go and modify that now. Right, what we've done is the colour that we made where we substituted in the gold and took out the blue, just 2 gold. So we've gone from 2 blue to 2 gold. So what we've now done is reinstate the blue. We've actually gone straight in and reinstated the blue as per the formula. So all we've actually added is the gold. So we've now got on here. I'm not sure how well this will come out on the screen, on the video there, but in the flesh here, because colours always come out really different on film, which is hard to sort of put that over to a customer. But you've got to try and trick your eye away from the outline of the spray out card. So if we look at this, and we're putting different angles of light in here which probably won't come out too well in the screen. But we've now got the blue, we have the gold on the different flip. The black is exactly where we need the black to be. So we are pretty damn confident that that is going to be where we need to be with the colour. We're also going to be under a better quality of lacquer, which will have a slight impact in it and give it a little bit more depth, which is what it's currently missing. So we're happy with that. And that's been, if we just look quickly here, again with the whole light thing in here, I don't know how well these are going to come out, but we started out with the bottom one, which was just too blue a colour. The middle one was not, it didn't have any of the gold in it, and the black wasn't right. And then the top card, we've actually divided that in two. So we've got all gold pearl, no blue, and then we've got gold and blue pearl, which is where we're going to go. So that process there has taken us essentially 4 spray out cards. The fact that one's divided in two is neither here nor there. It's still the same process in getting there. So that's multiple scans, quite a bit of investigation into who TVR used for the colour, and then some trial and error getting the colour right, making a note obviously of how much of which tinter we've added, taken away, and so on and so forth. So for this small rear quarter panel repair, and it was just a small repair, we're only doing sort of, that's the only bit there that's going to be coloured. There's quite a bit of work that goes into this. So there's a little insight into how we get colour, the problems we have getting the right colour and getting it all to match. So we're going to crack on now. We'll carry on getting the rest of the car sorted out, prepared, into the booth, and we'll get a video at the end showing where we've got to. Something else that comes into play with colour, and we explain this to all customers, is lacquer, clear coat, which is obviously applicable to all base and clear systems, which is anything metallic. Lacquers have varying different qualities. There's cheap lacquer, quality lacquer. They have various different strengths and weaknesses. Expensive lacquer has nothing but strengths, I hasten to add. But all lacquers contain a degree of UV resistant technology. Now, we only use Novel and Spectral products here, as we've said countless times before. But we've got here a sample from the Accident Body Shop next door. In the interest of fairness, I'm not going to tell you what brand this is, but it's not a budget brand, it's still a high quality lacquer. But if you can see through there, I don't know if that's... This is some lacquer left over that's cured in a pot. You can see that's got quite a heavy yellow tinge to it. It might not be that obvious until I put up next to it our lacquer, which is the, in this case, this is Spectral's 52500 clear coat, which has got superb UV protection agents in it, but as you can see, it's crystal clear. There's a huge difference in the clarity there. So this lacquer here has UV properties, this lacquer has UV properties, but Novel have managed to engineer that in such a way that it's so clear, and that when you apply it to the car, it doesn't necessarily change the colour. In fact, it doesn't change the colour, it'd be unfair to even suggest that. It doesn't change the colour, but it gives everything more clarity and more depth. So in essence, what you're doing is when you put the base coat down, just pop open here, when you put the colour down, and you then put the lacquer over the top of it, the lacquer is a magnifying glass. So with your colour, you are then looking through that. Or you're looking through that. So hopefully, I know I keep saying this in the video, but I don't know how well this transcends down through a camera. But that's the lens you're looking through. So that's the kind of clarity that it's offering you. So there we go, all done now. Bit of a battle to get the colour, as we kind of indicated in the video, so it's not straightforward. It's not just a scan it, wonders of technology will do all the rest for you. You've still got to put a bit of work and have an eye for it. So it's all got together. We're quite happy with how this is coming out now, especially this edge to edge. And by that I mean we are painted up to this edge, matching up to this edge here. So that's the edge to edge bit we're referring to. It's coming really well. This is the first time we've had it in sunlight now, and we're happy with that. That's come out really nice. So we've just got to take the rest of the masking off now, fit the rest of the car back up, so put the tailgate back on it, put the rear splitter and the side back on, and that will be good to go. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into what we need to be doing to getting colours right that aren't just an off-the-shelf colour. Hopefully it's been informative, and we'll be back with some more content soon, so please hit subscribe and keep it chill. Keep it chill? What the hell is that?